And let's see if it's buffering or not. You turn yours on too. See, pull me up on YouTube and let me know if it's buffering or not. Peace, peace. Climb back on up in here. Peace, 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 love, light, and healing. Peace to the gods. Peace to the earth. Y'all climb on in. Climb on in the building. Let me see. It should be good. So it's good. I'm back. All right. How do I sound? Do I sound too loud? I don't sound loud. Okay, perfect, perfect. I can cut that down. Y'all climb back in here. My bad, y'all. You know, this is my first time being set up here, so it's a little different. This is a whole new scenery and a whole new setting for me. You know, we built this room for our anatomy classes, what we call anato-spiritual classes that we're going to be doing that's taking place here now. We've been getting a lot of things done, a lot of things set up, and a lot of recording done. So, you know, we're going to have herbology classes to you very soon, cooking classes to you very soon, anatomy classes to you very soon, meditation, African yoga, breath work. I mean, it's so much work that we've been doing that we've been trying to bring to y'all. And that's the reason why I haven't been live lately, because we've been in the backgrounds, you know, making everything happen. So y'all climb in. Peace, peace. Peace to all those who climbing in. What I want to do is, since this is my first time going live in this new setting, I was going to answer questions on here, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through the comment board and I'm going to answer you guys questions. And what I was talking about was, you know, just genetic weaknesses and genetic curses, and how, you know, if you go just throughout this entire world and you look at any type of black communities, even in Caucasian communities and even amongst the Asians, everybody is sick. And, you know, this is not a coincidence. It's like the bubonic plague just swept over everybody. You know, everybody got genetic weaknesses. Everybody got genetic just dispositions where, you know, acidosis is killing and burning everybody alive. So I do need to turn up the volume. What about now? Is that better, y'all? Can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear me now? Let me know. Let me know if it's too loud. We perfect? I got this mic like right on my shirt, y'all, so I don't want to be like, and I say peas a lot, I don't want to be popping all in y'all ears. Y'all, do I need to turn it up a little bit more before we start going in? Let me know now. I want to get this. Right is perfect. So just right is perfect. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect. All right, so look, let's get this started. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through you guys' comments and whatever y'all got for me. We're gonna go through it. I'm gonna give you my recommendations, what you need to be eating, and the herbs you actually need to be taking. You know, we are in a time and in a place now where we must keep our bodies cleansed. You know, we must make sure that we vibing high, we keeping our minds open. You need to be doing spiritual work more than ever now, because it's some dark forces at work here, y'all. I know a lot of y'all don't believe in the boogeyman in the closet, or don't believe in that dark monster that's under the bed, but they truly, truly exist. All you have to do is just look at the pharmaceutical companies, look at what's going on right now, and there's certain words that I ain't gonna say because I just got back on YouTube, but we all know what's up and we all know what's going down. It's not a coincidence that everybody in our family is sick. It's not a coincidence that all of our elders have been passed away. You see that? I got one grandma left. A lot of y'all don't have any grandmas, and my grandmas weren't even 80 years old yet. You see what I'm saying? So why are we dying so quick? Why are we not living long lives? And a lot of people they blame it on religion. A lot of people blame it on God, but don't nobody point the finger at themselves and blame it on the lifestyle that they've been living. You know, we all been caught up in this germ disease, germ theory. We all been caught up in the bacteria theory. We all been caught up in the virus theory, but ain't nobody sat back and looked at cause and effect. Look at whatever goes around comes around. You know, for every action is an opposite and equal reaction. You know, what you do to your body and the environment that you put your body in, there's a cost that you have to pay for it. You know, and I tell y'all this all the time. You have to pay for everything. The cost of inhaling is exhaling. You see that? The cost of taking that breath is more breaths being taken away from you. The cost of planting seeds is growing fruits, is growing flowers, is growing plants. The cost of living an acidic lifestyle is being burned. And being burned is all these diseases that we've been suffering from. The cost of changing things that's not for human consumption and making it for human consumption, and then, stupidly calling it food, you're going to get a burnt body. You're going to get sickle cell anemia. You're going to get leukemia. You're going to get liver disease, cirrhosis of the liver. You're going to have allergies. You're going to have all these diseases, these itises and these oses, which is nothing but an illusion anyway, but you're going to get them. I was speaking on the live yesterday just about how, this whole disease movement is total bullshit, and how I don't believe in the ideology of it anyway, and how herbs are not for diseases, herbs are for structure functioning, showing you that herbs is not for sickle cell anemia, herbs is not for leukemia, herbs is not for cancer, herbs is for the cells that's in that particular area where this so-called disease is at. There is no such thing as a dis-ease. There's a such thing as the body not being at ease because you have been blocking the meridian pathways in the flow of energy, because you have been violating nature. And then wherever that mucus and that acid accumulates at, the tissues around the cells and the cells around the tissues starts to break down and starts to deteriorate, because the acid response that you getting from the food that you're calling food, you're putting in your body is having a blowback, and that mucus response is now, being responsible for sucking all the oxygen out of the cells, and now you are hurting in that particular area because the cells are breaking down. So what the herbs are going to do, the herbs are going to come in, depending on how I mix up their formula and what I'm going to do with them herbs, they're going to go help the structure and the functioning of the cell. It ain't got nothing to do with the disease, because the disease simply don't exist. Your body is not at ease because your body is full of acids. It's only one disease, and that disease is not mucus, y'all. The disease is acidosis. Acid burns the cells, and the cells start lacking oxygen. That lack and deprivation of oxygen is what kills and makes the cells die. And then that particular area, you start seeing deterioration. You start seeing all types of aches and pains, and what we call lupus, what we call cancer, what we call multiple sclerosis, what we call all these other different diseases. And that's all it is. That's all it is. So if y'all got what I'm saying so far and y'all ready to get this started, type in some nines and we're going to get it started. And if you can hear me, if you can see me well, let's keep it going. Type in some nines. Again, and there's been a lot of people pretending to be me on WhatsApp. There's been a lot of people pretending to be me on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on TikTok, on Cash App, all of that. We won't ask you for no payments unless it's through the website. And if we do ask you for a payment that's beyond the website, you already on the phone with us. You know my voice. You already talking to us. We done booked the consultation, and you done heard it from me directly. Other than that, that is not us, y'all. Another thing, I don't answer any DMs. I don't answer any inboxes or none of that. And we do respond through our emails that's attached to our website. If it don't go back to YahkiAwaken.com, it is not us. So if it's an email that people are talking to you guys and it's not Yahki Awaken inbox, then any other email is not me, unless it's a .com connected to it, YahkiAwaken.com. We only chat with people through those emails and through the actual inbox. Other than that, I'm not responding to nobody on WhatsApp. I'm not responding to nobody on Instagram, on Facebook, none of that. If you're getting a response, it's not from me, and it's somebody impersonating me, and they trying to take your money. And another thing, we'll never ever ask you for your personal information, your address, or for you to pay anything on social media platforms. It will always be through our website, unless I'm having a direct consultation with you, or you are on the direct consultation with Ania and Kawhi, and they bring me in and I tell you, yeah, we can do it through a Cash App, or we can do it through a PayPal. Other than that, that is not me y'all talking to. You see what I'm saying? Period. So if it's not from the website, if we're not communicating to the chat box on the website, I don't care if they got a picture of me, if they post a video of me talking just like this, it ain't me. It ain't me. And it's hundreds of people pretending to be me taking all y'all money. And, let's pray and put some badass energy on them. Hopefully they choke out and die in their sleep or something. How about that? All right. So I'm finna go through and start looking for some questions. Let's get it. Let's get it. It says, I have multiple things going on. Okay, this is from La Vida Loca. Living La Vida Loca. I have multiple things going on. What is a good base herb to start at for herbs? I have an order, but I don't think it's the correct stuff. I have emailed, but no answer. What email are you emailing? You probably emailing running the wrong emails. And here go the email right here. Questions at YahkiAwaken.com. Just look at the bottom of the thing. We only use this email for stuff like this, where you email us and we print them all out and we ask them. If it's anything that you like an ongoing conversation and stuff like that, you won't hear a reply back from us. The website to the email to the website is healing@YahkiAwaken.com. Healing@YahkiAwaken.com. The questions at YahkiAwaken.com is just for this, for you to ask your question and me to answer it to you on live. But a good base herb, when I'm looking at things like a good base herb, I'm looking for blood, something that's going to cleanse up the blood, something that's going to cleanse out the glandular highway, something that's going to shake and start astringent and pulling on the lymphatic system. But the main and important thing, I'm going to be looking for herbs that are very astringent on the kidneys, something that help out with the kidneys. So I'll say a very, very good base herb. I'll give you 3 of them. I will say greater burdock root, dandelion root, and dandelion leaf. And last but not least, I would say cleavers or plantain leaf. All 4 of those are good base herbs to truly start with. Again, greater burdock root. Of course, if I'm going to mention the root botanical, I have to mention the leaf, burdock leaf, dandelion root, dandelion leaf. And notice everything I'm saying grows in your backyard or grows in your front yard. You know, these are very, very common herbs. And the reason why it grows so abundantly wherever you see us at is because it is an all-purpose herb, and that is burdock root. Burdock root is actually good to cleanse the blood. Burdock root is good to cleanse out the liver, cleanse out the small intestinal tract. It's part of the barge family. Not only that, it is a toner, or what they call a tonic, because they don't only cleanses the cells, but it strengthens the cells too. And it's also high when it comes to a mineral called iron phosphate. And iron phosphate is the mineral amongst the Black community that we lack the most, that we need the most. You know, every different race or a classified group of people have their own mineral, and ours will actually be iron phosphate. Caucasians is calcium. When you get into the Chinese, theirs is zinc. You know, everybody have their different minerals. So when it comes to so-called African-American Negroes, ours is iron phosphate. So if you need to bring oxygen to the cells, burdock root is very good for that. If you need to cleanse out the spleen and just, you know, cleanse up the blood, for you can open up the lymphatic ducts and the lymphatic pathways, burdock is very, very, very good for that. And the next one I was talking about was dandelion root. Dandelion root is another all well-rounded herb, and that's the reason why it grows everywhere in abundance. Dandelion root is good to cleanse the blood also, but it's more of an organ structure functioning type of herb. So it cleanses out the liver, it cleanses up the kidneys, it helps kick the adrenal glands on, but it does amazing job of cleaning and toning and strengthening up the liver. The next one I was talking about was cleavers. Cleavers is a astringent herb. Cleavers go straight for the lymphatic system. Cleavers go straight for the lymph nodes. Cleavers go straight for the kidneys. And these are all lymphatic tissues or all lymphatic organs that I'm talking about, because it's impossible to truly cleanse the body without opening up the lymphatic system and getting the kidneys to filtrate all of that lymph and that stagnated interstitial fluid that's been backed up, holding on to all of those acids that you've been accumulating out through your life. So another one, I mean, cleavers would be one of my top 3. Cleavers. Like I said, that is one of your lymphatic herbs. And then, I mean, last but not least at all, because I didn't go in a particular order, would be plantain leaf. Plantain leaf is more widely grown than dandelion leaf and burdock put together. Plantain leaf grow anywhere. It reminds me of mustard seed because it'll grow anywhere. I mean, literally anywhere. And plantain leaf is not only a blood cleanser and a blood toner and strengthener, but it's just a cell strengthener in general. It don't have to be a certain location on your body that plantain leaf go more than another. Plantain leaf go throughout their blood and their circulatory system and get into that lymph, you know, and through the lymph node ducts and just clean up everything. And it also pulls in the strands at the kidneys as well. So them are my top 4 when it comes to America. If we is in another country, I'll give y'all another 4, like in Africa, because, you know, in different parts of the geographical locations of Earth, you know, minerals are more prone to somewhere like here. Like, for instance, in the homeland in Africa, minerals are way more abundant than minerals here, because what they're doing with the soil, they're spraying herbicides, pesticides, insecticides everywhere. You know, you got to find herbs organic. And I mean, right now, herbs are very, very hard to find because of this whole pandemic, and, you know, what's going on with the ships. It is thousands of ships just sitting and floating in the sea that's been in the sea for almost 16 months, y'all, literally. And I'm not making this up. So a lot of people have been asking about orders and stuff. It is hard for us to get herbs over here. I mean, it really is. And I think that's for every herbalist, unless you ordering some fake herbs off of Amazon or something like that. So, you know, we have to keep that in consideration too, that most of the herbs that we have, we get a lot of them from the Americas, but a lot of our stuff come from Africa and a lot of our stuff come from Europe as well. And it's just hard, and Jamaica, and it's hard getting that stuff through the borders. You know, Jamaica locking down every other day. And that's where we get most of our sarsaparilla from. What else we get from there? We get most of our Cardiego Negro from Jamaica. I mean, a lot of our stuff. So y'all see what's happening. Yeah, y'all see what type of dark age or what I'm going to say gloomy times we coming into, y'all. I mean, it's really time to start learning how to grow your own crops, grow your own foods, grow your own herbs, and cleanse your body now. That way, when you get to the point where we at, it ain't where it's to the point where you can't get on the internet to order any herbs, or you can't go to a store because that store was shut down due to violating certain, you know, C-word constrictions. That now you just shit out of luck because you don't have nowhere to go but to the allopathic community and go to these emergency rooms. And then you got to make sure that you got your COVID ID and stuff like that. I mean, it's finna get crazy, y'all. So the time is now to prepare. The time is now to truly, truly cleanse the body. The time is now to get in tune with nature, get in tune with oneself, to realize that you are God within and connect with the Almighty God. I mean, the time is now. It ain't no other time. The time is now, because we are running out of time, y'all. It's getting worse and worse. It would not get any better, y'all, and I'm telling y'all that. So them are basic herbs right there. What else we got? Peace to the gods and peace to the earth. Peace, peace. You said everything is acid once you eat it, but how can something be reversed once it is consumed? You said everything is acid once you eat it, but how can everything be reversed once it's consumed? I mean, if you look at the anatomy of your body, like for instance here, if you see this whole entire body right here, this body is made of cells. Cells end up making up these different tissues. These tissues end up making up different type of organ systems. These organ systems end up making up the whole entire molecular structure of what we call the body. But inside each individual cell of the body, inside of the nucleus of the cell, you have something called DNA, which stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. This DNA then produces a pictogram photographic copy of itself called RNA, which is ribonucleic acid. Notice that the base, the fundamental things that builds up your entire body, is already acidic in chemistry. It's already acid. You have deoxyribonucleic acid, deoxyribose. That is nothing but sugar that don't have oxygen in it. That's where you get the word deoxy, because all the oxygen have been pulled from the sugar. Ribose, nucleic acid. This is a nucleate. This is a nucleotide, but this is an acid, and this is a protein in its chemistry. This is a complex amino acid structure. Then in order for you to rebuild new cellular tissue, what happens is it goes through something called a ribosome inside of the cell. And what the ribosome purpose is to take a picture of DNA inside the nucleus of the cell, and then it takes this information, it goes through the ribosome, and then the ribosome, which acts as a fundamental wound of the cell, rebirth a new cell. So it even take acids to create. Notice the first thing on your periodic table is what? Hydrogen. That's where you get potential hydrogen from, or powered hydrogen, or where you get pH from. Hydrogen is acidic as hell. You see that? Carbonic acid is nothing but hydrogen atoms. Hydrogen atoms is hot. The more hydrogen you have, the hotter it gets. The hotter it is. So, you know, everything is already in an acid chemistry. The only thing that's truly not acidic on your body is your bloodstream. Your bloodstream, you know, is at a 7.45 on a potential hydrogen scale. That's alkaline. And also your lymphatic system, the lymph fluid that is pumped from the lymphatic vessels, that is alkaline. But everything else in your body is slightly acidic. Even the cells. If we're looking at a potential hydrogen scale, you have between 1 to 6, that's acidic, 7 is neutral, and then 7 to 14 is alkaline. Guess what every 150 trillion cells on your body sit at a 6.4. So why is the cells, every cell in your body, slightly acidic? Why is the DNA, that's the information that makes up your whole molecular structure, is acidic? Why? In order to even break down your food, you need hydrochloric acid to break down that food. And why every reaction in your body to process or to metabolize or to break down anything creates acid. Carbonic acid, lactic acid, phytic acid, uric acid, urea acid, sulfuric acid. I mean, I can keep going on and on. I know at least about 60 acids that your body produces just by being in its natural state without you doing anything right now. So that's why it behooves us to learn the lymphatic system and be able to open up the lymphatic system, because there is no way to miss the acid ash. It's coming. Because whatever you do inside of reality to burn fuel, whether we're going to call it carbon, whether we call it hydrogen or oxygen, whenever you burn sugar, which is fructose, glucose, dextrose, galactose, maltose, pentose, any of these sugars, because you eating hamburgers and pizzas and all this other bull crap, or even your greens and your vegetables and your apples. You eating this stuff and you thinking you're actually eating an apple. No, you're not. Your teeth is grinding that down, and then your hydrochloric acid in your stomach gonna break that down into very fine minute particles, and then it's gonna go into the duodenum, which is this small intestinal tract right here. And once it get into the duodenum, the bacteria inside of the gut is gonna break it down even more. So once the bacteria break these things down even more, it breaks down into sugars. And then once it gets into sugars, this is the track right here. Once it gets into sugars, then what happens, the bacteria pick up these sugars and it takes it through the body. So look, this is what you get right here. Every food that you eat, all the absorption is happening right here and in the transverse colon. This little small tract right here, this is called the duodenum or the duodenum. This is the back part. I talk about this so much. This is a little 9-inch tract where all the absorption have. You have billions and billions of candida bacteria, biobifinum bacteria, lactobacillus bacteria. They're just sitting here waiting on these little microparticles for they can take it to the capillaries, or what they call the blood capillaries, and actually distribute it into the blood, for the blood can act as a transportation and transport all of the phytonutrients into each cell of the body. So what are we dealing with again here? We're dealing with lactose. We're dealing with good lactose. We're dealing with glucose. And we dealing with fructose. Well, if you know sugar, and if you ever seen an apple and an apple that get real ripe, notice what it starts turning into. It starts turning into fungus, it starts turning into mold, and it starts rotting, right? That's what happens, because that is the decomposition of living foods. Well, guess what? That decomposition becomes acidic, because everything that it takes to break down these foods inside of the body take acids to break it down. So first thing you're doing, as soon as you chew the food, you have to start moving your lips and start moving your teeth. This is going to produce something called amylase and trypsin. Well, amylase and trypsin have a byproduct. This is an alkaline enzyme that leaves acidic ash. Or we can call it an alkaline ash. It don't even matter to me no more, because it still left the ash. And in order to make ash, something have to be on fire. That's where ash comes. Don't ashes come from fires? So if it's an ash, that means it burnt a cell. That's why you got to hurry up and get it out of the cell before more burning take place, and then deprivation of oxygen come. And then the number one defense, which is also a killer too, which is mucus, because it always want to say the day is going to come in and suffocate the cell even more. So no, the process of just by breaking down these alkaline foods is still acidic in nature, y'all. You have to remember that. So only reason why we say that the blood was made, that the body was made alkaline, was because of the blood. That's it. But the body's whole entire functioning process is acidic. And that's the reason why I keep teaching about kidney filtration, and I keep teaching about having that lymphatic system cleansed and keeping it open and making sure you have the right amount of good bacteria inside the body and inside the lymph nodes, because you just walking, you're building up lactic acid. Me just talking to y'all right now, and I'm already sweating under my armpits. What is that sweat? If I go get that sweat tested right now, there's going to be minerals, there's going to be certain electrical negative enzymic reactions inside of these things, plus electrolytes, which is nothing but converted salts, basal salts, and minerals. And then look, guess what the watery substance is? It's not only H2O and H3O2, but it is lactic acid. Just by me just doing something as simple as talking to y'all. Because while I'm moving, I'm burning energy. You see that? Just like a vehicle needs fuel, these vehicles and these structures need fuel. That fuel is what you're putting in the body, called what? Food. Or we get our main fuel, which is the primary source, is by the breath. Breathing in the Ruach HaKodesh, or the Neshama, or what they call oxygen molecules that then get converted into CO2 constituents, or what they call carbon. So we even breathing in sugar. We even breathing in sugar. And if I'm buffering y'all, please forgive me. We're going to most definitely have a replay back, recording on this and everything where there ain't going to be no buffering in. I'm actually recording with y'all. All right, so that's the reason why I'm talking about that. Hopefully I answered that question. If y'all got any more questions concerning net real fast, hopefully I answered that good for y'all. Let me know. And it says, but how can it be reversed? And the question is, it can't be reversed. That's the reason why you have to open up the meridian pathways, open up the sewage system that we call the lymphatic system to get these things out of the body. All right, peace and blessings, family. Okay, how can I clear my cataracts? Oh, that's a very, very good one. Can they still hear me? Can they still hear me? How can I clear my cataracts? Can they still hear me? Where's my eye at? That's a good one. So whenever you're dealing with cataracts, what you are dealing with is mucus inside of the eyes. Usually the mucus is built up on the optic nerve, which is behind the eye right up in here, or is right on the iris. But notice what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a buildup and accumulation and a coagulation of mucus. Well, where did the mucus actually come from? The mucus is coming from your body trying to get rid of acidosis. The mucus is coming from your body trying to get rid of all the acidic waste and byproducts that your body is not eliminating because your kidneys are backed up and your kidneys are not filtrating and you're not urinating all this uric acid, urea, and all of these byproducts of the metabolitic waste that the body's been ingesting and going through. So in order to get rid of mucus, you have to drain the brain's glymphatic system. So every brain have a glymphatic system. So if you actually look at this autonomy structure right here, the moment, oh snap, I just dropped it. The moment that you go up, so from the body on up, you're dealing with something called the lymphatic system, right? And the lymphatic system deals with two major things. You know, when you deal with the left side of the body, you're dealing with the lymphatic, duct, the main lymphatic duct. Then when you're dealing with the actual left side of the body, the right side of the body, you're dealing with the aorta ducts, and then you're dealing with how the lymphatic is connected to something called the vena cava. And this is the vena cava right here. This blue line right here is what you call the venous cava. The lymphatic system actually starts right here. And it starts as a trunk. They call it lymph trunks. And then it spreads and is made off the blood or the circulatory system. The lymphatic system was truly, truly made to cleanse the blood because the blood is the kitchen and that's what feeds the cells of the body, all the phytonutrients and all of its food. Well, anytime something goes through a metabolic product or process, it produces waste. And then this waste have to be picked up by the sewage system, not the kitchen, because you ain't finna poop in your refrigerator and you damn sure ain't finna poop on your plate. So that's why you have two systems. You have the kitchen, which feeds the cells of the body. Then you have the lymphatic system, which cleanses the cells of the body. Then you have the nervous system that commands or that speaks and communicates with the cells of the body. Well, just 10 years ago, they finally found a system inside the brain because they swore up and down that there wasn't a sewage system or a cleansing mechanism to cleanse the brain. And they was blaming this, reason why we have so much Alzheimer's disease, the reason why we have dementia and so much, cerebral palsy and all these other different diseases because they claimed that there wasn't a system to cleanse the brain. Well, what happens is what feeds your brain and gives all the brain nutrients is actually something called cerebrospinal fluid. And that's this water-like substance you see actually casing the brain right here. This is cerebrospinal fluid. Well, inside of this cerebrospinal fluid, you have all different types of simple amino acid structures. You got sugars, you have carbons, you even have a lot of certain things that you will see inside of the lymphatic system. T cells, B cells, lymphocytes, phagocytes, all these different things that you will see inside of different systems. Now it's a certain protein that actually gets accumulated in the brain, and it is called amyloid. It's a byproduct protein. I'm too close.
You're too close. Can see your face.
Oh, I ain't worried about my face. I'm trying to teach. And it's a byproduct called amyloid. And this amyloid byproduct of a protein actually turns into acids and starts burning the brain or the cells of the brain. Well, what they noticed when they started studying this stuff, they noticed it was channels in the brain that started cleansing this protein. And they said, we never seen these channels before. And how they did these channels is they ejected some type of luminescent liquid inside of the brain cavity, and they watched cerebrospinal fluid, and they watched how this protein goes and how it goes through its metabolic process and how it starts to drain. Now tell me why this. Tell me why the process is all of the byproducts first drain into the cavities, and then after it drained into the cavities, it then drained from the cavities lymphatic vessels down to the tonsils. Showing you that your tonsils are majorly important, because the tonsils are big ass lymph nodes, and that's how you drain the brain. You see that? So if you want to actually clear up cataracts, which is nothing but acids and mucus built up inside of the iris, the first thing you have to do is start cleansing the colon, because the transverse colon is where it is all of that different mucus and just where all of the lymphatic gut associated tissues at. Once you open up this pathway and you can start draining this colon, then you can start literally draining the tonsils, unless you got your tonsils removed. And the best way to drain your tonsils and to just drain your lymphatic system, period, and soothe your mucosa membrane is getting on an all fruit diet. Alkalining and hydrating the body. The body is already have so many acidic different components to it, as I was telling y'all, which is your deoxynucleic acid, your ribose nucleic acid, the hydronucleic acid, lactic acid from walking, breathing, speaking, talking, carbonic acid from eating your fruits and eating your gnarly grains that you're not supposed to be eating, phytic acid for eating your chickpeas and the rest of your peas and legumes and beans. You see that uric acid and urea acid for eating all of these meats that you're not supposed to be eating. So all of this stuff, this accumulating the acids needs somewhere to go. And the first thing that is going to do is start sitting in this river of fluids that the cells sit on, that's called the interstitial fluids. And the interstitial fluids is connected to the lymphatic system. So in order for you to drain the brain, you must drain the transverse colon. Once you start draining that transverse colon and these kidneys open up and the neurons start filtering and processing all that lymph and metabolic waste and toxic cellular waste that's built up, notice your nose will start running. Your eyes will start running. You'll start seeing mucus and earwax in your ears. You'll start coughing and coughing up all type of mucus, because now the draining process have begun, and you can actually start emptying the sinus cavity, and then the rest of the stuff will start draining through the tonsils. And then the tonsils look just like this. Inside the tonsils, because the tonsils are nothing but lymph nodes. That's all it is. The tonsils is nothing but lymph nodes. And inside these tonsils, notice the blood that's in here. Notice you got the vena cava veins, or what they call the veins, the blue ones, and you got the aortas, or what they call the veins or the arteries that bring oxygen to the cells of the body. But notice what you see, all these green little spaces and blue spaces. This actually looks like macrophages and bacteria and stuff like that. And the reason why you have all these bacteria and macrophages inside of the lymph node is because they are created for one specific job and one specific job only. And I'm talking about macrophages. You have trillions and trillions of bacteria, or what you call the microbiota inside of the body. Each of them have a specific duty and job to play. Well, the bacteria inside the lymph nodes, called macrophages, a biobifidum bacteria, have a specific duty and job, and that is to eat acids. That's all they do. Let me show you how beautiful Yahweh is and how amazing he is. He knew that the body was built on acidic principles. He knew that the cells and the DNA, that the very information on how it stay in the body is due to acidic principles. So he said, I need something to counterbalance all of that acidic processes in the body, all these acidic functionings, all these acidic metabolic waste. So he created the body with 150 trillion cells, and 50 trillion of them cells, and 100 trillion of them cells are made up of bacteria. And out of the 100 trillion of them cells, about 50 trillion of them cells are made up of good biobifidum bacteria and just lactobacillus bacteria and macrophages. And these things are made to chew and eat acids all day. So the body is going to stay in its balance. The body is going to stay in its good judgment. The body is going to stay in ma'at, as long as you're not violating nature and you're not going against nature. So if you want to get rid of cataracts, get some eyebright. Eyebright is one of the hardest herbs to find right now. Am I lying, Kawhi?
Not at all.
I mean, literally, we've been searching heavens, hell, hot water, outer space, inner space, everywhere looking for eyebright, but everybody been buying it up. So if you can find some eyebright or make you an eyebright tincture, which we are making them now, cleanse your eyes out with eye bright, and what the eye bright would do is it'll start pulling and pulling and pulling on the optic lobe and pulling all of them cataracts and all of that. Basically, it's nothing but crystallized uric acid and mucus that's in the eyes. It'll start breaking up all of that agglomulation and pulling it out of his eyes. Not only that, you need to cleanse the gut, the transverse colon. If you want to cleanse the transverse colon yourself, get you some Cascara Grande, get you some slippery ambark, some things like that. Get you some turkey rhubarb and mix them up in equal parts and start drinking tea, or grind them up, put them in some capsules or some powder and start taking that down, where you can start eliminating all the poop and the plaque and all the toxic waste that you got built up in the transverse colon. Because if you don't drain the colon, which is basically the starting of the trunk of the body, then you're not going to be able to get rid of the stuff that's in the head, because all of this is come tumbling down. The midsection or the mesosection of your body is the true command center. So without cleansing the command center, you ain't cleansing anything, because, think about this midsection that I'm talking about. Notice what you got right here. You have the kidneys, and then you have the adrenals that sit on top of the kidneys. And the whole functioning of the adrenals is to be the actual pump for the filtration system, for the kidneys to filtrate and cleanse out the lymphatic system, or what we're going to call toxemia, or metabolic waste. Well, the adrenal glands actually produce a hormone, or what we're going to call a melanin neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. And acetylcholine is a hormone that constrict and pulsate the lymphatic vessels. So, the lymphatic vessels don't have lungs to pump the blood, or don't have a heart valve to open up different valves to control the flow of whether the blood will go fast or slow. The lymphatic system is not connected to something like that, because the lymphatic system have to go through the heart to clean up all of the acidic waste that look, imagine, a body in motion, stay in motion, right? Look, I want to show y'all something. I'm glad I just mentioned that. That's smart. I need a heart. I need a good heart. Now check this out. That's something real deep. Now look what I just came up with. This is a good download. So the heart, right? The heart pumps every day, all day, without stopping. If the heart stops, you die, right? So through all of this pumping, imagine just working out. When you do this and you're working out, what's going to start happening with your body? The body is going to start getting tight. The body is going to start burning, and then you're going to start what? Sweating. So for you doing that simple little workout, you're going to start sweating, and you're going to start producing acid, or what they're going to call lactic acid. Now imagine this muscle that sits in your chest that pumps every day, all day, for your whole entire lifespan, and it never stops. And then the moment it do stop, they say that you die, right? Now look, make this make sense. So from the heart doing all of that work, I wonder how much acid, if there was not lymphatic vessels inside this heart to cleanse this heart, I wonder how much acid would build up on the heart and kill the heart. And you wonder why we got so many acid diseases. But let me show you how your body was beautifully and wonderfully made. Y'all see this flap right here that look like a flattened, to me it looked like a flattened thyroid or parathyroid. This is called the thymus gland. Now guess what the thymus gland is? Check this out, man. This is some deep shit. Guess what the thymus gland is? Notice how big it is. It has to be so big because this is a lymph node. This is a big ass lymph node called the thymus gland. This is where the T cells and the B cells go to school at to learn whether they're going to be a T cell, a B cell, a lymphocyte, a phagocyte, a monofield, a neutrophil, a basophil. They go to school to turn into warriors and straight to turn into a deploymentation of armies to go out and kill all the foreign invaders and all the acids that's coming inside of the body. Now, why will the school be on top of the heart? Because the heart is one of the most important organs in your body, and it works from sun up to sundown, just like your lungs, and that working all day, every day, and burning all of that energy is Family, we back.
Probably like 3 minutes into it.
We back. So I'm back. Where did I leave off at? So we can get back into that because I was just going in. Where did I leave off at before we? Where did I leave off at? Anybody that's listening? Because we was going in a little taste. Where did I leave off at?
Go back to helping the heart.
Okay, so helping the heart. All right, so I'm going to go back to the heart. So what I was talking about, dang, how much of it did I miss? Okay, being on top of the heart. All right, dang, I was going in too. Hold on, I need to drink. I need to drink of some apple juice real quick. So what I was talking about is how the heart pumps. You know, it works more than any other organ inside the body. And the reason why is because they have to open and close. The lungs pump the blood into the heart, and the heart acts as a valve, and it open and close all day, controlling the pressure along with your kidneys of how much blood flows throughout the body and how much blood goes back into the venous system to return back into the aorta to give oxygen back to the blood. So, you know, you have the aorta valve. The aorta valve is what brings the oxygen from by way of the pump, or what we're going to call the lungs, into the body to bring oxygen to each individual cell of the body. And then what happens is it goes through its circulation and everything goes back to the venous, or what they're going to call the vena cava. The vena cava is responsible for getting rid of all the carbon dioxide that builds up in the body after the carbon dioxide has been metabolized. So once oxygen is metabolized, it turns into CO2 constituents. This is carbon, melanin, light. Once carbon, melanin, light, or what we call CO2, carbon dioxide, is actually metabolized, you have to get rid of it, because if it stays in the body too much, the acids from the sulfuric acid that's produced by that will start burning the cells. So then you exhale this carbon dioxide, and that's what the plants and the trees breathe back in. The plants and the trees breathe in this carbon dioxide, and they exhale the oxygen. So that's the way this whole entire mechanism works. Well, why this is working, what's helping this thing along the way is the heart. And the heart is responsible for opening up different type of valves. And I'm going to show you the valves. The heart got ventricles just like the brain got ventricles. You see that? You have all these different ventricles of the heart. Now, you have the left side, left aorta. You have the strong side, the sigmoid. You have so many different parts of the heart. So we're going to get into that in the anatomy classes once the anatomy classes is open. But notice these valves are opening and closing. The aorta and the vena cava is opening and closing. Remember, red aorta brings in the air. That's where you get the word artery from. This comes from the air god Nike. It's a Greek word after Greek gods. And then you have the vena cava. The vena cava go back to astrology and a whole lot of different things. Also because the whole entire body was made after gods. That's why when you start really studying anatomy, you start seeing that we are saturated with Greek gods everywhere. You know, you got Monday, Moon Day, Tuesday, Mars Day, Wednesday, you got Jupiter's Day, Saturday, Saturn's Day. Everything is made to follow and to worship their gods. And that's why you have Septicitis, Seth. You see that? You have the anus. Well, anus is the god of two cheeks. You have butt cheeks or buttocks. Well, the two cheeks is what anus guarded. And it was anus. Or you got vagina, which stands for foraina, which means the false hole. And that's the reason why, you know, the Greeks used to like to have homosexual orgies, because they thought that the anus was the true God over two cheeks. So you wasn't a man, or you wasn't experiencing God-like beings unless you had your penis in another man's asshole. And that's why in weddings they had something called the best man. The best man was actually the Greeks' homosexual partner. He didn't want to marry the foramen or the false vagina hole. And so in order for him to do that, to keep the children going and the lineage going, he was forced to marry her, but he brought his homosexual partner to the actual wedding called his best man. So you got to really start understanding, you know, the ideology around the stuff we be following, and it is wicked and it'll blow your mind. So, you know, that's the reason why you have an Adam's apple. You know, that's named after Adam in the Bible, and then it's associated with certain apples. You know, they say it ain't, but it actually is. You start looking up these different words like, you know, biceps and triceps and trapezoids. This all have to do with the three-headed monster that Hercules actually killed. And that's why you have something called the Achilles heel. Achilles, this is a warrior from Greek. Man, you start looking this stuff up, it will blow your mind. But anyways, back to what I was talking about. So the heart is a muscle that works all day, every day. And the moment that the heart stops working, you die. You know, they call it cardiac arrest. I mean, they call it a lot of things, but the moment that it stopped working, you die. And what I was saying is, since it's working so much and it's opening and closing, or what y'all will call the pumping effect, but I'm going to call the valve effect, what happens is it's producing a lot of lactic acid. And I gave y'all the analogy of you working out and you're curling the biceps and the triceps for 20 reps straight. You know, it's going to start getting heavier and heavier, and then you're going to start feeling stiffness and burning. That burning is the muscle starting to burn because it is working and it is metabolizing. And that metabolic waste is going to start making you sweat. And that sweat is going to produce something called lactic acid. So if you get that from just doing this, lactic acid and sweat, imagine what this get when it works all day, sun up to sundown, 24/7, 365, and it never stop beating. And when it do stop beating, you die. You know how much lactic acid, how much acid, sulfuric acid is going to be built up on it? So Yahweh created the body to be such a God-like structure that one of the largest lymphatic organs on the body he put directly on top of the heart, and it's called the thymus gland. Look at that. It's called the thymus gland. So if you look at the thymus gland, it damn near covers the whole top of the heart. And the reason why it does, because this is a big lymph node. So whenever the body is building up all the metabolic waste and lactic acid, what happens is not only do your bone marrow cells, or what we call the B cells, go to school and go to training inside of the thymus gland, but your actual blood, your red blood cells and your T cells go to training inside here too. T cells actually stands for thymus cells. All of your lymphocytes, your phagocytes, your monophils, your neutrophils, your basophils, they get their assigned position in the army by going to army school or by going to the military, and that military base will be the thymus gland. And that's the reason why when you get, diagnosed with HIV, what the first thing they're going to check is your TDC4 cells. They're checking the thymus gland to see if the thymus gland in the so-called immunological system is working efficiently. And if it's not, then they'll label you with these certain type of diseases based off of your thymus cell count, whether they want to tell you the truth about this or not, because this is a major part to do with your lymphatic system, because this is one of your biggest lymphatic organs other than your liver and other than your spleen. You see that? Them are lymphatic organs as well. But notice how beautiful your body is created and how it's made. Notice that the organ that works the hardest have its own personal big-ass lymph node. And that's what I was saying. Did I over-explain that too much? All right, what else we got? Yes, etymology, man. Etymology is everything, Ursula. All right, yes, straight pagans. Your whole body was named after it. I mean, just ask yourself, what is the anus and where do anus come from? Anus is the god of two cheeks. Two cheeks, so it's a god covering my, hovering over my butt cheek. It's some weird, nasty homosexual stuff. Y'all to blow your mind. It'll blow your mind. All right, what else we got? Hashimoto's?
Hashimura. It says what?
It says, would you identify lack of willpower, laziness, and lack of discipline, lack of focus, and procrastination, etc., a biochemical issue? If so, where do we begin to heal this issue? Yes, I will, because like I was saying, when you really start explaining the body, and you start explaining how the body works and how the body functions, and you start getting into, simple things like the endocrine system. I'm gonna pull this one. Let's pull the black one down. And you get into something like the endocrine system, you start seeing that laziness is a chemical. It's a spirit. Let me turn this right here. And I just want to show y'all. So, and I go through this with y'all a lot, but I want to show y'all, happiness, all these different things are chemicals that happen inside of the brain. So you have the hypothalamus gland, you have the hippocampus. The hypothalamus gland actually deals with memories. It deals with a lot of your emotion. Emotion stands for energy in motion. And that's how you think. You think with emotions, energy, finite energy, or what they call quantum physics. This is these moving atoms that you cannot see with the naked eye, but they're there and they exist. Quantum computers pick them up all the time now. And these things get transferred through water and fire. The fire is always in the blood. You see that? Fire is in the blood, and we can show you this. You know, if you break down the chemical composition of fire, you break down the chemical composition of blood, it's going to be the same chemical compositions in numbers, showing you that the fire of the life is in the blood, and that fire is oxygen. Well, the crazy thing about the cells in your body that makes up these different glands, they go through these different hormone exchanges, and it makes you perceive your reality a certain way. And I talk about the hypothalamus gland and the hippocampus all the time, and the pineal and the pituitary gland. So when you start really talking about the brain and you get into the pods of the brain, you know, this is the brain and this is the pod of the brain. You know, the first thing you're going to see is the pituitary gland. And I tell y'all about the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is actually in control of something called prolactin. Prolactin is a secretion of the pituitary gland that produces something called milk, prolactin. You know, it's where you get the land that's flowing with milk and honey from. Well, prolactin is a hormone, and this hormone actually is in control of your water retention. It's in control of your reproductive organs. It's in control of whether you're going to have fibroids or not. It's actually in control of your progesterone, your pregnenolone, your progesterone, your estrogen, your estrogen. It's in control of all of these hormones and your cholesterol. Well, if you start seeing people that are bottled up, people that have so much acids, people that got fibroids big as golf clubs inside their vagina canal, you would notice that their hormones is imbalanced. And off this imbalance, they grow too much testosterone. They start growing beards. You know, you start seeing too much hair on their hands and their legs, and they'll be more manly-like. So showing you just off of that, off of a hormone chemically imbalanced secretion of the pituitary gland, a woman can be more aggressive than a man. Or a man can be more feminine than a woman. You see that? Thought-wise, you know, her aggression, the way she acts. So we thinking that we just, you know, the mind is producing all these things, and these are chemical reactions that come from the invisible into the invisible. Energy, which it means E, in motion. You see that? Then that's just off the pituitary gland. Then you have the pineal gland that sits at the back of the pons, the cerebellum. So then you have the pineal gland, and the pineal gland sits right at the back of the pons. That's the pineal gland right there. See if I can zoom in on that just a little bit. Will it straighten itself out? No, it won't. It's all good. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. I wonder why it ain't straightening. Yeah, I don't know what it's doing. Maybe I'm just too close. So then you have the pineal gland. Now, the pineal gland is in control of creating your carbon, creating your melanin. It also creates melatonin. It creates serotonin, and it creates serotonin during the night, and it produces it and secretes it during the day. And serotonin is over your hunger moods. Serotonin is over your sex hormones and your sex drive. So literally, if you're not producing enough serotonin by the pineal gland, you don't want to have sex. Or you can't even get your penis hard, or the vagina won't get wet. You see what I'm saying? Serotonin is actually over anger too. You know, it'll make you very angry if you're not producing enough. And notice this is a gland that secretes a certain chemical that gives you an energy that's in motion that we call energy. Also, it produces something called melanin. It produces melanin during the day, and then it secretes melanin during the night. This puts you in your spirituality. This puts you in your creativity. This is what's in control of your circadian rhythm, your awakening, and your sleep patterns. Have you ever seen somebody deprived of sleep that have sleep apnea? Or somebody that's deprived of sleep that has insomnia? Ain't they some angry, mean mofos? Why is they angry and mean? Because they have been sleep deprived. Well, why are they sleep deprived? Because they have a chemical hormonal imbalance, and they're not producing enough melatonin by way of melanin due to carbon in the pineal gland coming through the body and being released by the bloodstream. So that's just up in the head. That's just third eye chakra. Then we start moving. We actually get to the throat chakra. We get to the thyroid. Now, when you get to the thyroid is in control of you being depressed. The thyroid is in control of everything, to be honest with you. Now, the thyroid comes with vitamin D deficiency. You know, the thyroid is actually in control of hormones called parathyroid and parathyroxine. And these are in control of the calcium release or secretion in the blood by way of the bone marrow, what they call the calcium matrix. Now, notice people that have thyroid problems always would tell you that they're very depressed. And the reason why they're very depressed because they're not releasing parathyroxine and parathyroid that's going to convert over into vitamin D or vitamin D3. Notice the lack of minerals and the lack of utilized minerals brings on all type of mental illnesses because this all has something to do with the chemistry and the chemical exchange due to the glandular highway or the chakras in the body. Notice you put them out in the sun and you start letting them convert that cholesterol over to vitamin D. Now vitamin D is actually feeding the thyroid gland and the parathyroid, and calcium is doing its buffering job in its whole entire system throughout the bloodstream and getting rid of acid and acidosis. Depression leave. But notice the depression came from what? The lack of utilization of minerals, vital minerals, and a chemical hormonal imbalance due to the thyroid, or what you call the throat chakra. Then you move down and you're dealing with the thymus gland. And I just told you what the thymus gland is in control of. That is the protection. That's the heart chakra. That's the protection of the body. That's where you express one love from. People that got messed up thymus glands, they don't know how to love correctly. And it's not even nothing that's evil. They don't hate like people with messed up livers and adrenals, but they don't know how to express one love because the thymus gland, that protection, which is the T cells, the B cells, the lymphocytes, the phagocytes, the immunity, or what they call the so-called immunological system, is starting to die off and it's not as efficiently running like it used to be. So their protecting wall is down, so they're very bottled up. They get very defensive, you know, spiritually. Because physically they can't keep up the job because the T cells and the B cells is not warding and fighting off low thought form frequencies or entities that we call parasites. You see what I'm saying? So now what's happening? Now they are very insecure. They have a problem loving. They don't know how to let their guards down, all because of the so-called immunological system, or what we're going to call the lymphatic defense system, is not working properly when it comes to that type of gland that sits over the heart, because that gland is the heart chakra and how you express your love to your significant others or one another or even to animals in the world. You see that? And notice this in Caucasians. I'm not lying. When Caucasians get 12 years old, most of their thymus glands starts disintegrating. They literally disappear. They literally disappear. I'm going to say it again. Most Caucasians at the age of 12, their thymus glands literally disappear. Look this stuff up, and ours grow bigger. Ours grow bigger. And this is not a racist thing. These are just scientific facts that I'm spitting. Then once you get to the thymus gland, you start seeing other glands. And the first one we're going to talk about is the spleen. The spleen actually secrete things too. Now, what is the spleen for? The spleen is to cleanse out the blood. The spleen is to cleanse out trauma. The spleen is to cleanse, because you know life is in the blood. The ancestors move through the blood, but they sit on the kidneys by way of the adrenal glands. And that's why the adrenal glands are shaped like pyramids. And notice what they did in the pyramids of Kemet. The pharaohs went inside of the king's chamber and they sat there and they astral project to different, realities and dimensions of densities. Well, it's the same thing that happened in your body. Notice what notice what the spleen does. It cleanses the blood and it dumps all of its unwanted trauma into the lymphatic system. So the spleen is another lymphatic organ, and it dumps all the unwanted toxemia or metabolic waste off into the lymphatic system, and then the lymphatic system take it throughout the lymph nodes for the macrophages, and the biofilm bacteria can do its job, which is eating and breaking down these things, and then it goes to the kidneys. So, people with spleen problems or bad blood, notice that they're very angry. Notice that they're confused all the time. Notice that they lack a lot of iron phosphate. They always cold. They're always dizzy. They question themselves. They're very indecisive. They're very unsure. And they got calcium problems too, and a lot of calcium utilizations. Y'all look this stuff up, y'all. I mean, literally, when you start talking about physiology and just get into psychology, they go hand in hand. You cannot talk about anatomy and spirituality separate, because we are a spiritual people and our bio-spiritual bodies are one. You're a fifth dimensional being. You're just stuck in a three-dimensional plane. All five of your bodies exist here right now already within themselves, and they're all connected and interwoven by way of the spinal cord. And that's why the spinal cord have all these different nerve endings. That's the reason why the spinal cord look like that. Notice all these different nerve endings and how complex the spinal cord is, because it is connecting 5 bodies to one body, literally. Then you move from the spleen, and then you get to to the whole shebang of the body, the pancreas. The pancreas is a gland too. People with messed up pancreas, they deal with a lot of hunger issues. They don't know how to control their eating habits. They're very compulsive eaters. They're emotional eaters. As soon as they get sad, they need to feel and stuff their mouths and their bellies. You see what I'm saying? Soon as they feel down or they go through a breakup, they start emotionally eating everywhere. And that's where you get chocolates from, and you get, for Love Day, you want to bring Valentine's candy and all of this other stuff, and they very associated with sugar. And that's why most people with pancreas problems get diabetes, because, you fell for the lack of love, and the lack of love got you emotionally eating. And now you're associating your emotions and your lack of love with sugar. And that's the reason why you look in the black community where love was stripped from us by the slave masters. Notice what we started doing. We started calling our grandchildren honey buns. We started calling them sugar. We started calling them, all types of things. You call your significant other all types of, lemon drop and all different types of these sweets. Or to, when we was rewarded as children, my mama pulled my grandma, my mama was pulling out butterscotch, peppermint, all different types of things. Did your grandma do that too? Yeah. Had a purse full of peppermints and orange slices, to show you, to reward you for a good job. So why are we associating love with sugar? And notice what sugar does. When sugar, sucrose, and with high fructose corn syrup, it is refined sugar, which is a neurotoxin. It's sitting in the blood, and insulin don't want nothing to do with it. So insulin just leave that shit in the blood, and then your blood skyrocket. Your glycagon go high. Now your pancreas is playing a teeter-totter game all day, so it stops yielding beta cells, and these beta cells is in charge of producing. The beta cells are in charge of producing the insulin. So now insulin is not taking the sugars to penetrate the cells, and now you got diabetes. Then the sugar builds up in the blood where it start blocking arteries. Now you start losing oxygen to certain extremities of the body, and now it starts to swell up. You start getting edema. You start getting lymphedema, where all the lymph is not moving due to stagnation, and now the circulation is cutting off. So now you start seeing brown spots pop up. Now your tissues start to disintegrate, and you lose toes, and they cut off legs, and you're in a wheelchair until you die. Well, what is that happening from? The lack of love. Showing you what's associated with love is the pancreas. What's associated with patience is the pancreas. Then you got these beautiful things right here, the adrenal glands. And I would say this is the golden ass of them all, because the adrenal glands is actually in control of 98% of all of the hormones that's in your body. It's in control of your steroid utilization. It's in control of your mineral utilization. So if you want to be a light being, you can't be a light being if your adrenals down. If you want to heal the body, you can't open up the kidneys and get rid of all that traumatic experience and all that metabolic waste and process that's been building up on the cells, because this is what produces the hormones to open up the kidneys for filtration. Now, you know that the ancestors sit on the kidneys. The kidneys is the seat to the soul of your ancestors, because at every moment or minute of the day, your kidneys hold at least 2 pints of blood. Your kidneys are holding more than that. I don't know the actual number because I ain't studied it in so long, so I'm going to give you one where I know I can't be off it. At least 2 pints of blood is in your kidneys at every given moment and second of the day. Now remember, life is in the blood. Genetic code and information is in the blood. You see that oxygen is in the blood. Carbon dioxide is in the blood. Sugar that feeds the phytonutrients of your cells is in the blood. Melanin is in the blood. Gases is in the blood. All these gas exchanges that you need to walk around and live an everyday life with, all of these things is in the blood. All the genetic information that's in the blood come from where? Those who came before you. My mother. Well, don't my mother got a mother? And don't my mother's mother's got a mother? And don't my mother's 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 got a mother? Next thing you know, you look back 18 generations and them are your ancestors. So the ancestors are passing down the genetic code through the blood, and most of the blood is sitting inside of your kidneys at any given second and moment of the day. So that make the kidneys the seat of your ancestors. And that's the reason why all of us have kidney problems. You see so many African Americans is in clinics doing dialysis, kidney failing. All types of different cirrhosis of the liver, kidney disease. I'm on dialysis 3 times a week. I got to get my kidney up. We just seen a famous celebrity. His son just had to give him a kidney. What's really going on? Are we being attacked spiritually, and this spiritual attack is manifesting on us physically, and we just haven't made the connection yet? I think that's what's happening. You see that? And you just keep going down all the way to the prostate or to the ovaries, which is the last glands, or what we're going to call the sacral chakra. And that is very deep too, because we're using these things to have wrong sex. We're using it. We're being led by lust. You lack patience. You lack all types of things, and you just want to run up in something. And all STDs, sexually transmitted. Because I don't believe in sexually transmitted diseases. I believe in sexually transmitted demons, or being manifested through all these things. All because of the chemical compositions in your body is not balanced or not not harmonious. Right. It's all about balance, y'all. And that's how you get a sick body, when these glands starts to do what they want to do and it's not governed by you anymore. Did I go off, or I did? I think I went off, y'all. I don't think I was supposed to do all of that. My bad, y'all. Any more questions? Any more questions?
Somebody has said, can they change, like how can they heal themselves without fruit? You got a lot of people that have this issue with fruit.
You worried about how do you heal yourself without fruits? Just use herbs. I mean, fruits is what it is, though. I mean, if you really want to heal yourself, you have to open up the lymphatic system, and you have to get the kidneys open. And the best way to open up the lymphatic system and getting the kidneys open to filtrate will be by way of the fruits. So I would say, I mean, the question is why you don't want to use the fruits. Why don't you want to eat the fruits? That should be the question. And if you say because you have an allergic reaction, then that means you need more fruits, because your lymphatic system and your mucous membranes have too many antigens in them. And that's your body called a fontanelle, alternative route of elimination. It is holding, it's pushing all of the unwanted foods out of the body, because the fruits is doing its job, which is hydrating and detoxifying you.
So the last question, bringing it back in, the question was just about, can depression and lack of motivation and all that be due to biochemical warfare?
So your question was this again: Can depression, can laziness, and all this be for the lack of imbalance in the chemistry of your body by way of the glandular highway? And could it be a byproduct of biochemical warfare? I'm saying, for and on the record, it actually is. It actually is. I mean, just think about what they're playing through the radios, the celebrities and what they got playing. Every woman twerking now, bust a nigga head, kill a nigga dead, all these different, enchantments through the music. And then they playing the music at a very, very low hertz, 417 hertz, I believe, which is really just like destroying our melanin and destroying the molecular structure in our body. You've been to the club before and they play a song, bust a nigga head, and you ready to bust a nigga head? Or you been heard Let's Get It On, and you hear some Marvin Gaye and penis salute and stand up like a brick wall? You see what I'm saying? So we are influenced by outside entities and vibrations, whether we want to agree with it or not. And these entities and lower vibrations changes the molecular structure of the chemicals that is being utilized and through enzymic reactions in the body. So if outside forces and vibrations is coming in, changing the chemistry of what's already within, that's going to project my thoughts and my motives. So yes, laziness is a chemical hormonal imbalance. Being angry is a chemical hormonal imbalance, y'all, that causes cancer and shrivels up your liver, y'all. You see what I'm saying? Every disease have a emotional component attached to it. And these emotions just don't come out of thin air. It is something influencing them in the quantic world, or what we're going to call in the world of unseen, or the spiritual world. Whether y'all believe in angels or angles of light or demons, diamians, or lower thought form frequencies, whether you believe in them or not, they exist. And they are influencing this realm right here. We can call them parasites. We can call them whatever you want to call, because they manifest too. We can call them whatever y'all want to call them. We can prove they exist, but whether we show or tell or not, all them thoughts ain't yours. Have you ever had a good thought and a bad thought and battling whether you should do the good or bad one? Okay, so who had the good thought? Who had the bad thought? And who the hell is in between making the decision whether they should follow the good one and the bad one? Do you really have three personalities, or you been influenced by outside frequencies and vibrations and you just haven't realized it yet? So yes, I agree with you. You see any more good questions up in there? Let's see. Floaties in the eyes. Whenever you look at floaters in the eyes, you're usually looking at parasites or broken off pieces of irises or lymphatic waste floating around in the eye. It's either the three. And a lot of times you see mucus floating around in the eyes too.
Another person said their son was sick, had a chesty cough and was breathing, wheezing, oxygen levels are low. Doctor said he had to have steroids and antibiotics.
So a son was sick, have a chesty cough. The cough is good. That's the body trying to break up agglomeration due to the bronchial tubes or due to the lymph nodes inside the bronchial tubes. Whenever you see a cough, that's the body way of trying to break up all of that coagulation and agglomeration. Notice when you cough, notice how your chest tighten up. And notice how your throat start releasing things. You know, same thing as a sneeze. Hut-chew and hut-chew. Put your hand in there. Notice all the particles that come out your mouth. So a cough and a sneeze is the body way of trying to break up agglomeration of crystallized uric acid and mucus that's inside of the respiratory system. So don't worry about that cough. Sometimes too much cough can bruise the bronchial tubes and bruise the esophagus. But I mean, that's literally a nonstop cough every day, all day for like a week. Other than that, let them cough. Let them break up all that agglomeration and that mucus. You know, let them sneeze. What else you say?
That his oxygen levels were low. The doctor.
Okay, so let's talk about the oxygen levels real quick. If the oxygen levels are low, then that means you need to start doing breathing techniques with him. You know, truly breathing in through the nasal passage. Breathing in and then exhaling through the mouth. And when you breathe in, you know, teach him how old is the baby?
6.
He's 6. Teach him how to hold his breath for at least 3 seconds before he exhales. So you'll breathe in through the nostrils. That's how you get all the oxygen into the brain and circulating through all of the circulatory system. And then, you know, hold it. That way you can start moving that oxygen back into the bloodstream and back into different cells of the body, because that is what the cell is using to convert into CO2 constituents, or what we call carbon, for energy. Have them hold that. Then it's called diaphragmatic breathing. You know, I'm going to have to do this again. So you will breathe in through the nose. Where is this man at? So you'll breathe in through the nasal passage. And I teach y'all this all the time. Notice if you breathe through the mouth, it just goes straight through the esophagus and it goes straight down. Notice that. But notice when you breathe through the nose, it goes through something called chaia. That's what I call it, the chaia. And it goes through different meridian pathways that goes through the brain. Notice that breath goes straight to the pineal gland, goes straight to the pituitary gland. This is the pituitary, this is the hippocampus, the hypothalamus gland, and that is the all-seeing eye, or what you call the eye of Horus, the eye of Horus. And notice you see the pineal gland right by it, or what they call patak, a patu. You see that? And if you look at the whole structure, it looks like a bird. And that's why you see a lot of bird in Egypt or in Kemet or in their writings or in their hieroglyphs. They actually was depicting as they gods certain anatomy parts of your body, showing you that you was God. But, you know, notice when you look at the god Thoth, or what they call Thoth, or thought, where thought proceed from, which is the mind. When you breathe in, you're feeding the bloodstream all of this oxygen, and then it's being utilized before it even goes to the body. It goes to the brain, the command center, what they call the command center. Then the lungs take it and it goes through the blood system, through the heart valve, and then it goes through every different cell in your body. So we need to stop mouth breathing. We need to pay close attention to when we breathing through our nasal. And this is a good breath. You breathe in, your whole gut expands. Y'all see how big my gut just got when I did that? See, this is my gut just regular, right? But notice when I take a real breath, look how big my gut expands. Hold it. And when you take that diaphragmatic breath and you exhale, your belly button supposed to be touching your heart. And this is the diaphragm right here. If you take the heart off, y'all see this white part right here? This is the diaphragm. And this is what you call diaphragmatic breathing. And this is all controlled by the actual thyroid in the pituitary gland. And when you breathe in, notice the diaphragm pushes up. When you breathe in, notice the diaphragm expand and pushes out. It's called the wings. And when you exhale, it pushes back up. And that's how you get a full breath. So you need to work on breathing with him. I got a few breathing classes on my website. Put him on that. Also, he's going to need iron phosphate. What else you say was going on with him?
They want to put him on steroids.
I wouldn't take the steroids. Now, the reason why they're trying to put them on steroids is because the adrenal glands produces something called cortisol and corticosteroids. And what cortisol and corticosteroids do and what it's for, these adrenal glands is a part of the autonomic nervous system, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. Notice the prefix auto. These are things that runs on autopilot. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to get the adrenals, they're trying to get the body to do what the adrenals are not doing. So it let me know that it's adrenal issues that he's having. So what they're doing is they want to pump his blood with steroids because the adrenal glands produces certain steroids that's in control of the respiratory system. You see that my lungs pumping and my heart pumping, my heart beating, my lungs pumping, and my digestive system, that's on autopilot. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it unless it's compromised. You see that? Notice you don't think about breathing until you gotta breathe. You're like, oh shit, I gotta breathe. Now you're trying to breathe. And that's why I consciously breathe every minute of the day. I count all my breaths now. I'm so in tune with my breath now, and it's crazy. And you should start learning these things too. But what's in control of the autonomic nervous system, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, is the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands produces certain steroids and corticosteroids and cortisols and adrenochrome, sugars, iron phosphate utilization. What utilizes the minerals in the body is all the adrenals. And these different hormones and steroids produced by the adrenals is actually what's in control of your lungs, inhaling and exhaling, expanding and despanding. If despanding is a word. Is that a word? Despanding. We most definitely just made a new word. I'm logging it. Write that down. Despanding, expanding and despanding. So it's adrenals. And that's going to be also over the iron phosphate utilization too, because remember the adrenal glands is in control of utilizing iron phosphate. What else she got for that particular question? That way I can tell her. Okay. So we got the medication, steroids, the adrenals. We got coughing, showing that it's agglomulation and mucus built up in the bronchial tubes. And we have the chesty cough, and we have them giving steroids because the adrenals are down. The best way to get the adrenals back up and running is licorice root. You can also go on my website, www.yahkiawaken.com, and get my kidney and my adrenal kit. That'd be very, very good for him. I wouldn't even get the respiratory kit because his respiratory system is already working. He's coughing and breaking up agglomulation. Go on the website, get the kidney adrenal kit, and put him on an all-fruit diet, and all of that'll go away. All of that'll go away. And if that was me and my 6-year-old boy, I would not be putting no steroids in his body, because the steroids make it up to, it's kind of like inhalers. The steroids going to make it up to the bronchial tubes and get inside the lungs, and they lock themselves into the interstitial fluid of the cells. And then after that, it develops asthma and all types of stuff. Did y'all know that inhalers actually causes asthma? So yeah, that's what I do. If I was you, I would not let them put my son on no steroids. I will get the kidney and adrenal kit off my website. Most definitely get you some respiratory tea off the website. Get some licorice root and cleanse them adrenals and get them adrenals back online. Put them on an all-fruit diet, hydrate that body, and start flushing all that, mucus and crystallized uric acid out of the 6-year-old's body. What else we got? Any advice on how to drain or fix the lymphatic system that cause swelling? Yeah, you're dealing with edema. Think about it. The lymphatic system is what deals with water. So when you're dealing with the cardiovascular system, what happens is the blood literally is pumped. The artery is pumping all this different blood and stuff into the veins. You go through exchange, and they call blood capillaries or blood capillaries. So when these two meet or they exchange themselves inside of the lungs, right? Notice you have the alveoli inside of the lungs. Where my lungs at? This is a bronchial tube. Now notice you have, or the tree of life if you turn it up. But this is the lungs. Y'all, what y'all seeing right here, y'all seeing right here. This is literally how this go. Y'all see that? Y'all see the thyroid? You see that? Trachea going into the bronchial tubes, bronchial branches, ending with the alveola. Now check this out. This is deep. When you take a breath in, notice I'm breathing in. The air is flowing through. Once the air gets into my bronchial tubes, it goes into the bronchial branches or trees, and then it gets into the alveola. Well, it meets up with the vessels. Once all the oxygen gets in and the metabolitic process goes in, so what's the metabolitic process of oxygen? Carbon dioxide. See that? You're going to need something to clean that stuff up. So notice these fingers exchange gases. So now since the carbon dioxide is built up, it's going to have to change over. Well, if you look at oxygen and you look at carbon dioxide, they're both full of water. So it's going to be excess water that's supposed to be picked up by the lymphatic system and taken to the kidneys for filtration, then goes through the urethra and then come out of the penis or come out of the vagina. For you can get rid of all the metabolic waste and excess water that you build up. Now, some water do go back into the venous system to get redistributed back to the blood, but most of it is urinated out. Now, this is all by way of the lymphatic system and lymphatic vessels or lymphatic capillaries that's in between the red and the blue veins, which is the aorta veins, or what we're going to call the venous systems and the vein system or the artery system. So between these things having exchange, water leaks from the capillaries or the capillaries, because the capillaries are just little bitty bridges of tunnels that exchanges bodily fluids. So the capillaries are so small and they're not good, if you ask me. They just start leaking shit everywhere. So it leaks a whole lot of excess water out. So when it leaks the water out, it's supposed to be picked up by the interstitial fluid of the cells, or what we call the lymphatic system, then taken through all this metabolic changes, and the acids getting taken out of it, going to the kidneys. The kidneys go through the nephrons and do all this different filtration, and then you urinate the excess water or the excessive water that has been built up through the breathing process, through drinking water, eating foods, eating fruits, or whatever you're doing. They're supposed to leave out by way of the urinary tract. But if it don't, and the only reason it wouldn't is because the lymphatic system is backed up interstitially because the kidneys and the adrenals are not working, right? What will happen is when that water starts to go inside the lymphatic system is so backed up with other toxic waste and it's just very systemically backed up, then the water just sits. So then water starts to drain through other tissues, and that's where you get swelling from. Swelling in your arms, swelling in your legs, and they call it edema or lymphedema, because it's all about the lymphatic system being so backed up that the water can't be utilized, or you can't urinate it out. Now, the best way to get rid of that is by getting the adrenals back online, like I was just telling you last time, with the kidney and adrenal kit, and literally going out the lymphatic system and opening up that metabolic process. Usually when these things happen, it is the lymph nodes. Sometimes the lymphatic vessels be clean as day. Sometimes the lymphatic vessels don't give you no problems whatsoever. And it just be the lymph nodes. So you have to find a way to open up them lymph nodes sometime. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. I'm going to show you how to open up them lymph nodes right now. You know what? We got all these models here. I might as well use them, right? I'm doing too much. Kawhi say I'm doing a latte. I'm doing too much. So this is the lymphatic system. These are the lymphatic vessels. These are the lymph nodes. Notice on the bronchial tubes, you see all of the lymph nodes. Now, I just showed y'all the bronchial tubes right here, right? Notice it's the same thing. Now, look on the bronchial tubes or the tree of life in the lungs. Notice all the lymph nodes on there. Notice that they right by the blood capillaries, showing you that all of that water that was supposed to be dumped inside the lymphatic system made it into there, but couldn't keep into circulation through the lymph sites or the lymph vessels. So what it does, it just started, tissue started holding this water, and then you start getting swelling and agglomulation. Too much water in the cells take away the salt and potassium. All right, I'm back on, y'all. I don't know why these are brand new batteries. I had Kawhi go give me brand new batteries, and I mean, y'all see it's full, man. They leaving quick. So the next live I do, which is tomorrow, I'm gonna make sure that I use my other mic. I'm not gonna even use this mic. So where did I come out at? Let me know where I bagged out at. All right, we got 450 people in the room. All praises. Let me know where I backed out at. Where did it drop at? Where did the mic drop at? Let me see. What was it talking about? Start from the cells. You started talking about potassium. Okay, that's what I was talking about. So what I was saying was this. When the cell starts to accumulate so much water, water flushes away the salt and potassium phosphate ratio of the cells. And that messes with the integrity of the cells because potassium monophosphate coats the cells and actually builds up the cellular structure. And that works with the Golgi apparatus of the cells and it protects the cells from being damaged. So if you got water that's washing away the salt and washing away the monopotassium phosphate ratio, then now the cells can be easily damaged. And that's where you get damaged cells from when you're dealing with edema, all because you have a stagnated lymphatic system when all you have to do is get these adrenals and these kidneys online. Kidney filtration is some of the most important things that you have to pay attention to whenever you're healing, because that's the only way to drain the lymphatic system. You have other different ways to drain it, but it's not going to be as good as kidney filtration. For instance, you have your skin. Your skin is a lymphatic organ. You know, you can get in a steam sauna, you can work up a sweat, and you can sweat these things out, but you're going to build up lactic acid. So you got to make sure that as soon as you're done out of the sauna, you got to jump straight in the shower. Otherwise, the lactic acid is going to reabsorb back into the skin. So, you know, it's always good to get the kidneys filtering. You can take hot and cold showers. That will help move the lymph. But you don't want to move the lymph and the kidneys not filtering. So, you know, it's herbs that get the kidneys filtering and get the adrenals online. Juniper berries is good to get the kidneys filtering. Cleaver's roots are good to get the kidneys filtering. And again, it's good to open up the lymphatic system. Plantain leaf is good to get the kidneys filtering, good to open up the lymphatic system. You have wild yam root. It's good to get the lymphatic system good, moving and opening up the kidneys. I mean, you have so many kidney and adrenal herbs. It's crazy. But licorice root is the best by far when it comes to adrenals. And juniper berries and cleavers, it's some of my top picks when it comes to, and parsley. I cannot forget parsley. I'm tripping. And I mean, I can't forget parsley. That'd be my number one when it comes to kidney filtration. It'll be parsley, it'll be cleavers, plantain, and juniper berries. I mean, you hit the kidneys with them hard and you hit that adrenal at the same time, it'll do the body some good. Or you can get the kidney and adrenal kit off the website along with the 3 bitters and take these things and then start opening up the meridian pathways and getting you filtrating, and you can get rid of the edema. And if you're dealing with edema like that, watch your water intake. Drink more fruit juices, get away from the H2O and start drinking H3O2, and drink about 34 ounces of that a day. And I would not be trying to drink gallons of water a day, stuff like that, because you would drown yourself. I mean, literally. It says, how do you know when your kidneys are really filtering well? What you would do is you'll wake up in the morning, before you eat or drink anything, you will urinate in a glass. Once you urinate in that glass, you will sit that glass out between 6 to 12 hours, and you will come back and you will look. When you come back and you look at that glass, it should be like a dark, not a dark, but a white, dense, substance called lymphocytes. And these lymphocytes supposed to be dense, and they're supposed to be floating towards you can't float towards the bottom of anything. They'll be basically migrating towards the bottom of the glass jar. Whenever you see stuff that look like this, it's a good example. This is some pure apple juice. This is not my urine. I do not believe in that urine therapy bull crap. Now, whenever you see a glass like this, say this is my urine, and this is substance is left on top of all these bubbles. The reason why these bubbles in here is because these apples are high in oxygen. But when you see bubbles like this in your urine, this indicates that the body have too much protein in it. You should never supposed to see bubbles in your urine. Again, this is apple juice. Now, when you pee in a jar, you're not supposed to see these bubbles. Your urine is supposed to be dark, but you're supposed to see white clouds, literally migrating towards the bottom of it. The more white and the more concentrated it is, that's the more you're filtering lymphocytes, or what they call metabolitic waste. Because when you take samples of these things and you take them to the laboratory to get them checked, you're going to find all types of pathogens in them, dead cells, metabolic waste, lactic waste, uric acid, phytic acid, and all other types of things. So, to see if your kidneys are filtrating or not, get a CBC chart, get a renal metabolic panel. Let's check your GRFIs. Let's check your filtration system. Let's check your potassium, monophosphate. Let's check your sodium constituents and check things like that. And not only is we going to check your renal panel, but we're going to check your PR cells. Pee in the glass and let it sit and wait, and we're going to see if you filtering or not. What else we got? What time is it? We think I should do one more? Yeah. All right, I'm going to do one more. I want some juice so bad, but I brushed and flossed already. I'll brush and floss right now, and want I have this and go straight to bed on it? I'll be on it. My teeth cool. My teeth good. My teeth used to be jacked up. But, the sugar ain't going to really hurt your teeth. The sugar that's a neurotoxin and that's acidic to the body, that's very acidic, that'll damage you. These are usually your refined sugars and your processed cooked sugars. I thank the Most High, he gave you the gift to teach your people. We really need this information. You are a gift. All praises. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. All praises, Ebony Kelly. I appreciate those kind words. What kind of products do you have for a 3-year-old for overall health? My son is a picky eater, and I'm transitioning on eating more alkaline, but it's a challenge getting him to eat. Yeah, you gotta have a strategy when you come and trying to get a 3-year-old to change the diet. That's a straight strategy. We're gonna put them strategies on a new website that's being built. But what we got for him? I mean, he could take all the herbs we got. Our herbs are for children too. Every herb that we got is for children. It just goes by the weight. So I would start him off on, is it a 3-year-old boy or girl? Either or, I'll start them on the essential glandular kit. That's truly getting their glands working and making sure their glands is online. And that'll go after the adrenals too, to make sure their lymphatic system is really, kicking and kicking well. And just take it slow. Take it slow on the herbs, go by the weight. With the essential glandular kit. He's trying to change the diet. He's just trying to do an overall cleanse. I wouldn't go too hard on him, 3 years old. Yeah, picky eater.
Like a schedule of just adding particular fruits.
Yeah.
Trial and error, because you can't really, with a 3-year-old, that's going to be hit or miss.
Hopefully y'all hearing Kawash. She's saying with a 3-year-old is hit and miss with the diet. She's saying you basically going to have to, keep on the regular, change all the crap off, get off the meats, period. Stuff like that. But you're going to have to just start bringing in little healthy things here and there and rewarding him or her, whenever they do eat it. Act like it's the best thing in the world. You eat the apples and eat the good stuff and do something extraordinary in front of them and be like, look, the apples did it. The fruit made me do this, and just make it something that's amazing to them. Find pictures of their favorite cartoon character eating fruits all day, or, you can YouTube that stuff and just get them into it like eating fruits is the shit, because it actually is, but they don't know it because we have been taught to teach them that fruits and vegetables are secondary when they not. I'm going to do one more. Master teacher, we've been missing this family info. Keep investing in God, in us. God bless you and the family. Y'all praise. Boy, y'all should see out of y'all belly. That mug is huge right now.
It is not that big.
That baby is big. Straight up. How to get rid of kidney stones. The best way to get rid of kidney stones, I'm going to give you a potent mix, and you can get my kidney and adrenal kit with my 3 bitters are very, very good for kidney stones. But if you want to do it yourself, get you some parsley leaf, get you some gravel root, parsley leaf, and some hydrangea root, and some quassia chips. And make sure you get some juniper berries. And you're going to drink 3 glasses of that a day. Matter of fact, you should do 32 ounces a day of that. And on an all-fruit diet, you'll start peeing out stones left and right. Or you can get my kidney adrenal kit and get an extra pair of 3 bitters off the site, and we'll get rid of them for you real quick. Real quick. All right, I think that's enough. We got a lot of more work to do, y'all. We got a lot of stuff to do. I'm going to be back live tomorrow. I hope y'all enjoyed this live. I'm back. We back on YouTube. We back on Facebook. I'm back. You know what I'm saying? So make sure to be quiet. I'm back. So So make sure you hit up the website, www.yahkiawaken.com. They done let me out of jail, y'all. They let me back on. So I'm finna get on y'all nerves. For any herbs you need, we have a lot of classes coming up, healing classes, certifications, herbal classes, breath work, African, Afu, Hebraic, meditation, Hebraic, Afu, African, yoga, all type of stuff. Kawhi, y'all got the cooking classes for you. I mean, we got a whole lot of stuff coming towards y'all. It'll all be on a new website that's being built. So, I appreciate y'all. Any herbs and things that y'all need, hit up the website, www.yahkiawaken.com, and we'll get them out to y'all. Thank y'all for being patient with us. For those that are not being patient, we understand a lot of people are sick and a lot of people are dealing with ailments. So we get, your frustration and the reason why you want to cuss us out, but it ain't our fault. It's taking a lot longer to get the herbs into the state. And even with those that's in the state, it's taking longer for them to ship. Am I lying?
Yeah.
And they even
just gave us a warning about
you see that, and the post office just gave us a warning about shipping and how just certain shippings are delayed. But herbal packages are going out every single day. We do prioritize people that are like on deathbeds and suffering from cancer, leukemia, and stuff like that. We don't play no games. We get you wrapped up and we get you shipped out quick. Anybody that is talking to y'all that is not through the website, automatically assume that it's not me. We would never ask you for money over the website of any social media platform, nor WhatsApp. If they're asking you for money, whether they got my picture or not, whether it sound like me or not, just automatically assume it's not me and quit giving these people their money. www.yahkiawakened.com. YAHKIAWAKENED.com is my only source of communication in any type of business transactions with my people. If it's not that, then it's a gimmick and they getting y'all, and don't get them y'all money. And with that being said, I love y'all. Peace, love, light, and healing. Let me give y'all some shout outs. Matter of fact, where you from in the building? We got about 500 people in here. Where y'all at? Shout out your hometowns and where y'all at right now. We give y'all some shout outs when we get out of here. And I'll be live on my Instagram tomorrow morning. For those that are on my YouTube, follow me on Instagram, Yahki Awaken. Not with two eyes. There's Negroes out here pretending to be me there too. YAHKIAWAKENED. That's me on Instagram. Follow me on there. I'll be live on there tomorrow morning. And we be back live on Facebook and YouTube that night. Where y'all from? Let me give y'all some shout outs real quick. Las Vegas in the building, Jamaica in the building, ATL, Jamaica again, Chicago in the building, Kansas City, Missouri in the building. Shouts out to y'all, Zone 4, you dig? All right, shouts out to Zone 4, ATL, Nashville, Tennessee, Mississippi in the building, Compton, California in the building. Shalom, shalom, Mishpaka, how you doing? Tampa, Florida in the building. All praises. Baltimore, Maryland in the building. Jackson, Mississippi. Shouts out to Mississippi. We had a wonderful time in Greensville, Mississippi. Greensville, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, man. We got to get back out there. Now, that was beautiful.
Shout out to Zoe.
Yeah, shouts out to Zoe. I love that sister, her husband. Love them both. Fort Worth, Texas in the building. Virginia in the building. MD in the building. Dallas, Texas in the building. Cleveland. Shouts out to Cleveland. Got a good brother, Jeremiah, the football player out there. He real cool. Vegas in the building again. Austin, Texas. Canada in the building. Lafayette, Indiana in the building. Richmond, Virginia in the building. Houston in the building. Tampa Bay again. I be in Tampa so much, it's crazy. It's like my second home, ain't it, Kawhi?
Yeah.
Phoenix, Arizona in the building. Shouts out to my brother, Antonio Perez. Arizona again in the building. California, Baltimore, Indianapolis, Arkansas. That's where all my entire family from Arkansas. Shouts out to Arkansas. The Bronx in the building. Dominican Republic in the building. Hey, shouts out to all of y'all. I love y'all. This is why we're working hard and doing all these things. If you need us, if you need help, let's take action now. Let's not wait years down the line when all this shit done hit the fan to be trying to get healed. Let's do it now and maintain our healing. Let's grow our own food, buy our own land, and let's unify and start communities and really start, taking matters into our own hands. Because when we leave it up to them, look, we die. When we leave it to them, we die. We should be sick and tired of this already. It's time to stand up and it's time to fight. With that being said, I love y'all. Peace, love, light, and healing. Peace to the gods. Peace to the earth. See y'all tomorrow. Peace. And I'm taking all these videos down, y'all, because now, since I got my cameraman back, we're going to be putting up things and putting up words and flying in words and stuff like that. So I hope y'all was screen recording, because this is coming down. But I'll be back again live tomorrow, and this video should be back up with all the different graphics and everything we need in it by Friday. All right, peace, family. Matter of fact, you think I should leave it up a little while? All right, I'm gonna leave it up for 24 hours. Peace, family.